Hey everybody, this is Captain Morgan.
This is the realist, JB.
And welcome to the very first episode of Co-op Reviews. This is a very exciting time in movies.
Oh yeah!
We are reviewing, if you saw by the title, because you're not, because you can read, we're doing Avengers Infinity War. Don't worry, there will be no spoilers in this episode. If you want the spoiler episode, you can hit the link in the description, and you can...
Because trust me, there's some spoilers that need to be discussed.
This is like one of the most like spoiler heavy, and one of the people have been really good about not like spoiling the movie.
Oh yeah,
and I'm really impressed.
Even the marketing campaign for Marvel and Disney period have been doing like a lot of there's a lot of Thanos memes out, like Thanos disapproves of you.
Thanos demands your silence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanos demands your silence. And it's real because this movie is a very plot driven, a very action driven movie. So a lot of the qualities of it are actually pretty spoiler heavy. So.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, this is a movie that has been 10 years in the making. Yeah. Like, they started this back in 2008 with Iron Man 1, and it was such a good film.
Oh, man.
Even back then.
Dude.
And that movie is held up to the test of time, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's still on a lot of people's top fives, a lot of people's top three favorite Marvel films. And when you think about it, like, at least in this entity of the MCU, there's what, like 18 films?
Oh, at least.
At least 18 films have existed in this cinematic universe for the past 10 years, you guys. So that's 18 times, like, I can't do mental math right now, but that's a bunch of hours of just content that you
that's
would...
That's like 40 hours.
Exactly.
About.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Exactly, dude. Probably, but either way, in order to enjoy this film to its fullest potential, you know.
But the cool thing about it is, I've heard some reviews from people who have never seen, who saw like the first Avengers and then nothing in between, and it's still like gets such an emotional impact. And in fact, I was hanging out with some friends in the theater. They didn't know it was going to be a 2-part film.
Okay.
So that might be like the only spoiler that we do. It is a 2-part film.
Yeah.
There will be a follow-up.
It better be. I'll say that. It better be.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing with a lot of. It started with Harry Potter doing the whole like part 1, part 2, Deathly Hallows thing, and they started. But some movies I think it definitely works for. Like this movie I'm really glad that they spent time doing like. They didn't rush it, and there was a lot of plot lines in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the Thor plot line, we've got the Wakanda plot line, we've got the New York plot line, and we've got the Doctor Strange plot line. That's at least 4 plot lines.
That's at least 4. But you know what, dude? That's the genius about the Russo brothers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you go back and you look at least their previous Marvel films. You look at Civil War. You look at Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
They have all these little plot lines threaded through the movie, but they all still connect. They're all still relevant to each other without feeling too cumbersome to keep up with.
And you know what? My favorite part, that movie was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And I will say, I was never at any point being like, man, this movie is going on for a long time. I was invested from start to finish in what was happening.
I'll say this. First time seeing it, and it's probably just because I'm a huge fan, I didn't even notice. I was 100% like all this, like,
so ready for it.
I was so ready for everything.
I'm not gonna lie, I laughed a lot harder at the jokes than I probably would have if I was so excited for this movie, and I just died. And I'll say the humor in the film does a really good job of not trying to be campy. Because they did that with Thor, and it worked because Thor 1 and 2 they were.
It was way
adequate at best.
Self-serious. I love Ragnarok because it accepts the fact that it's kind of an absurd thing going on.
Right.
You know, and they definitely borrow more of like the Jack Kirby art style where everything is colorful, everything is super cyber, super futuristic. They're not sitting here trying to convince you that this type of thing can exist. Like it's already assumed that it's absurd.
I mean, as soon as they cast Jeff Goldblum, like who thought that movie was going to be
Jeff
serious?
Goldblum as the Grandmaster, dude. Come on.
But getting back to Infinity War it was a much more serious film.
Yeah.
It still had really good comedic beats that I loved.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Pratt, I think, had some of the best chemistry in the film. I did like him, Robert and Benedict. I was disappointed they didn't make a Sherlock reference, but
you know what? Everyone was waiting for that.
I was waiting for one of them to say something dumb.
Like elementary.
And it's just like
elementary. Like, yeah, duh. Like they're sitting there trying to figure out a problem, and I'm just like, all right, this is the perfect time, you guys. Someone say elementary or something.
Exactly.
It didn't happen, but
speaking of that, I'm also waiting for hopefully in the sequel. There's a moment where, or in some Avengers film where Martin Freeman's character shows up and meets Benedict, and it's like, I feel like I know you.
Yes. Oh, like I mean, I don't know. Like I said, like even in Black Panther with him and Andy Serkis's Claw, which was my favorite character in Black Panther.
We still haven't got his mixtape.
Yeah.
Make it happen, Marvel.
Oh
Make
man,
it happen,
please,
Disney.
Please, it will get all of my money. I want to know what kind of trap music Ulysses Claw makes. Maybe that's how he met Killmonger, you know?
This is probably it probably met him on like Craigslist or
yeah,
something. He was looking for like a feature
yeah,
in one of his.
Dog, yeah, man, your beats are fire. Yeah, dude, appreciate it. I also like stealing shit. You like stealing shit? Really? I like killing motherfuckers. Like, oh, dope.
But can we talk about Thanos as a character? I think his performance, not only was I really surprised that they made him mostly humanized. It was a little rushed. It was a little rushed, but his character had decent motivation, and he had a backstory that we kind of got a hold of, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, in a movie where he had 15 minutes of screen time ultimately. He owned that movie.
I think he got way more screen time than that. I don't know. Thanos was very prominent with me, and he was hopping all over the place. He was on Earth, then he was on Titan, and
with the Space Stone, which
which
you see in the trailer. He's able to just jump from wherever he wants.
Yeah.
So it makes things really interesting.
Yeah. This is spoiler free, so we're not going to tell you how he got it, but it's in the trailer, so you know he has it.
Yeah.
So it's not a spoiler.
Speaking of the trailer, though, the moment when he's going in with the glove and Cap stops him, that was such a great scene. Like that, I think that whole scene, and you'll see it in the movie. I think that scene was the most intense moment, and it wasn't even the most super powered action scene, but it just had a pretty big emotional weight to that moment, that whole sequence.
Dude, I think one thing I really, really love about this movie is that the stakes are so high.
Yes.
Like the highest it's ever been in a Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. And this is a movie in which pretty much the threat of existence is literally always going on.
Yeah.
Whenever you get in the cosmic type of movies, like your Guardians or your Thors.
Yeah. And the thing about this film is that it's kind of Marvel has it's set up from the beginning to do Infinity War. Is when they first came out with Iron Man, they're we're going for Infinity War. That's the plan. So now any deaths can be real. Because Loki dies twice in both of the of the film, and they even make a joke about it in Thor 3.
Yeah.
But the stakes are very real, is what I'm saying. And I don't know how they're gonna I don't know how part 2 is gonna work out.
Man, I mean,
once you see the movie, you can check out our spoiler review.
We can talk about it in full detail because, like I said, we can't even talk about part 2 without just even the insinuation that there's a part 2 is a bit of a mild spoiler in itself. You know, even though if you're up to date on like all the media knowledge surrounding these films, and you know, like there's another Black Panther film that's gonna happen. Obviously,
Spider-Man 2, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Exactly. If you're up to date on all that stuff, and you know that's coming out, you know you're pretty much expecting a part 2 from this. And they announced part 2 initially when they had all these lineups.
Exactly.
So we know it's coming. But somebody who's not 100% in the know.
Yeah, but I think that's the best thing that we could say is that this film is definitely it's gonna be a really hard year waiting for that next film.
Oh man, it's like waiting for another season of Game of Thrones or something. Mm-hmm. You know, they just leave you
on the cliffhangers. Those are the worst.
And when heck of a cliffhanger it is.
All right, well, thanks guys for watching this episode of Co-op Reviews. If you really liked it, make sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. And thanks again. We'll see you next time on Co-op Reviews.
Peace!